This is our first time streaming our original game, which has ever just kind of been Athanasia OD for me, so I don't know what to call it. For the sake of clarity, we'll go ahead and call this campaign the Rocket campaign. The other one is the Firefly campaign. So the Rockettes are those you see before you. They are a ragtag bunch of misfits, as you do, and we have a long and storied history behind all of this particular campaign. So I figured it would be nice to sort of start out by giving a recap of what we've done so far, with a little bit of help from the players to fill in the gaps. So feel free to jump in and share fun moments that you guys thought were noteworthy, and I'll kind of just go from the beginning. So the world is Athanasia. It's a world that I created myself. The major story starts 400 years ago at presumably the beginning of the world, when the cataclysm cracked the world down the middle and launched the Arctic Circle and up into the sky to revolve around the planet as the moon. At that time, human kingdoms are more or less dominant. They have established a kingdom known as Eusoria on sort of the center of the main continent, and animal hybrid races are commonplace here. So any animal you can think of probably has an animal hybrid race. There are Leonians, the cat folk. Jareth, Heath's character, is a lynx, I think. So he is representing the cat folk. We also have the Fenrir. This is our sort of wolf folk analog. They are more sort of close to the magic that allows them to be a hybrid humanoid race, and so they're able to shift into humanoid form pretty readily. The mole folk are known as the Boreans. Charles plays a Borean. His character's name is thank you. So Bran is our mole folk. He's a druid. Jareth, just to go back real quick, is a bard. Then we have some air animal folk. We have the seraphim, who are actually bat folk, and the Corvians, who are raven folk. And Chad, up until recently, played a raven folk character, but his character, in a bit of a mishap was incinerated while undead. So that kind of clinched it for him. The party promptly scooped up the remains of Mekon, the wizard, and all of the gear that he left behind into a bag and continued on their way. Who else have we got? We also have the sea folk. There are the Marrows, who are predominantly sort of like cold-blooded fish folk. And then you have the Sirens, who are more mammalian but also sea creature folk, like traditional mermaids, but with dolphin tails and seal tails and stuff. We have the stone spirits. Stone spirits are basically the animate, intelligent stone elementals that were born with the world itself. And so our resident stone spirit is Dave. Dave's character's name is Rocky, appropriately. Back in the day, when we formed sort of the name of the group, he was sort of proclaimed to be the leader, and so everyone decided to call the group the Rockettes after him. We have a couple of odd folk out. So Allison plays Roni. She is a human rogue, and there is a race of my own creation called the Winsleys, who are predominantly part spider, but also part tree and part squid and part lightning, and they're black and hairy, and they have 8 eyes, and it's pretty weird. So the Winsleys are kind of off in their own sort of communities in the highlands of Athanasia. Only rarely do they ever venture out into urban areas. And so we have Chelsea's character, Kathy, who has been a part of the campaign previously, who was a Winsley. She found her path leading elsewhere and so deviated from the main story. And Chelsea is now playing a very rare occurrence in my campaign setting, a tiefling, who basically are only known as demon-born because no one really knows why they would ever manifest in the material plane if they weren't actual demons. For the sake of argument, we're just going to go ahead and say that Chad is continuing to play a different character because the death of his most recent one was so, recent. So Chad is going to be playing a turtle folk called Nelbog for today's session, but he'll be picking up a different one here pretty soon. So that's the setting. The main tension of our story rotates around the first Raven, a primal spirit who leads the Corvians on a crusade to bring the moon back down to the Earth, where theoretically he intends to reunite the Corvians who used to live there with the main population on the surface of Athanasia. Unfortunately, in attempting to do this, he either does or does not know that doing so will cause the moon not to land safely, but to crash into the planet and destroy everything. So in a literal attempt to avoid doomsday, the Rockettes are on a mission to stop the Corvians from enacting rituals that will pull the moon to the Earth. So far, their efforts have led them to discover that Rocky is actually a fragment of a larger stone spirit known as the Guardian, who built the Pyrium Spire, the citadel where the Seraphim, the Batfolk, live. That spire also came with a sort of a command module, if you will, a sort of ship-sized activation unit called the Key, which the Rockettes fly around, also made of Pyrium. Pyrium is the made-up metal in this universe that absorbs light and then reflects it back out. And there is light and shedding light when there is none. I feel like this is a lot of information all at once, and I can sense the boredom of my players. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of recent history, and maybe we'll do some more recaps down the line. So the present sort of arc ended with a quest to heal a body-torn Jareth as he was attempting to research a teleportation spell, and that went awry. So Jareth literally lost exactly 50% of his body. We rolled it on the percentile dice, and it was in fact 50%. He lost the lower half of his body, and he ended up in the Pyrium Spire, which had now sunk into the center of the Earth, and the Earth, in fact, is hollow. So it just so happens that everyone was able to, with Bran's help, teleport into the center of the Earth out of one of the trees that they found there. They rose from the endless falls that goes from the inside of the planet toward the center. So they fell up, as it were, fought some quattles, some feathered dinosaur-like birds, and then met with a powerful wizard, a time archmage on the Pyrium Spire, where he basically just said, look, you're going to have to take your friend backwards through time in order to get him fixed. So have fun with that. He then led you all to this location inside the planet known as the Emerald Spire, where you met up with a creature known as the Time Being. And the Time Being invited you in, accepted you as his friends that he's known his entire life somehow, and then escorted you to the center of his sort of domain, where he instructed you to touch the Emerald Spire, say the names of the temporal runes that were found there, and he said that you were able to then, by activating these runes in sequence, be able to jump slowly further and further into the past. So 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, and so on, until you were able to get Jareth into a state that was survivable. So the goal was a week. With the help of one of the 20 stones of power, the time stone, Dave's character Rocky was able to escort Jareth inside of a stasis field, pass through the Emerald Spire and out the other side with accuracy. Unfortunately, the other members of the party had some difficulty jumping with the same accuracy because they did not use the time stone. So you guys passed through several dungeon levels and eventually found the roots of the Emerald Spire. You were finally able to locate the last of the runes you needed to jump a week into the past. And as you did so, you emerged out the other side. While inside, a couple of important things happened. Number one, Mekon perished at the hands of his 20th level undead lich self. Was raised as a zombie, and then both were incinerated by Hero, the tiefling monk, who was channeling radiant energy in an attempt to defeat the old undead 20th level lich version of Mekon, and accidentally got the younger one as well. Soon thereafter, you guys met Nelbog, the turtle folk that Chad is currently playing. You also met the spirit of Heath's previous character, Urlasung, a seraphim, one of the bat folk, who also happened to be a monk, who emerged from the Lightstone, which you also have. So the spirit of Urlasung is there. That's what Heath will be playing for a moment. And then Chad will be playing Nelbog. Both of those will probably sort of phase out here slowly over time. And the rest of you would have appeared outside of the Emerald Spire and looked around and discovered sort of the results of your efforts. Would any of you like a refresher of anything else before we continue?
I think that's about as concise of a summary as we're going to get for a campaign that's been going on for over 2 years now.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens is the following. Dave, you and the stretcher, Jareth's body is in stasis, emerge from the Emerald Spire, and you recognize immediately that there is a bright sky above you, not the interior of the planet as you suspected where you came from. You also realize because of this that you are no longer within the time tower. So you have arrived at your destination, you presume exactly a week in the past, as the time stone would have assured. And you look down and you see that Jareth's body is completely restored to its natural functioning order. He even has pants. He moves. And inside he appears to be just pleasantly asleep. Meanwhile, you do not see Bran or Hero or Roni or Nelbog.
Oh, yeah,
So
we just made a jump. I forgot.
all of them are elsewhere in time, and you're not entirely sure whether it's forward or backward. You remember that there was a variance on either side of about half of the time that you jumped, so they could be as far as half a week in the past or half a week in the future. What would you like to do at the moment? You're muted.
Turn on your mic.
Okay, so Bran did not make the jump with me, correct? Because I'm pretty sure we had figured out a harness situation where he rode on my back a lot. But so he's not there either?
Somehow the time stone was only able to accommodate one other person, and it must have jumped you without it.
Okay. And no one else is around.
Not that you can see. Your surroundings, your immediate surroundings are a vague, almost sort of sparkling, sort of floating haze in the air that is green tinted, and it spreads out as far as you can see. The ground immediately below you does kind of curve gently off up in both directions. It does remind you a great deal of what the interior of the planet looks like, the underworld as we call it. But it's much smaller in scale, and eventually it does actually stop and then admit the sky to your view. So what you feel that you are actually standing in is an enormous crater. However, this crater is just lush with green vegetation. And as you look off into the distance, you actually see that maybe 50, 60 feet away, as the slope begins to rise, at some point, the ground actually falls away, and you're uncertain exactly how far down it goes. But as it picks up maybe 20, 30 feet on the other side of the chasm, the caldera continues to rise until it reaches its rim. So right now, all you can see is sort of slightly wispy clouds in the blue sky, not midday, but maybe mid-afternoon above you, and then a lush green landscape out to the edges of the caldera.
Okay. Okay, so not seeing anyone else around, but seeing that Jareth looks like he is now whole, I think I'd like to open the stasis pod and tap on his forehead.
Okay. So go ahead and make an Arcana check. Pretty simple DC. The time stone is agreeable to you, so it will help where it can.
Not bad. Arcana. 15 total.
Okay, great. Yeah, not difficult. You being a stone spirit and this time stone also being a stone spirit, it's pretty easy to communicate between the two of you. It releases the stasis pod, and Jareth, you open your eyes. The last thing you remember was being splinched in half and ripped in literally two directions, and losing consciousness very shortly thereafter. You caught glimpses of the interior of a black metal room, hallway, sort of slightly curved with odd angles of light coming in, and then you blacked out. And now you're here. And you look around and you see Rocky staring down at you.
Are you dead too?
No. How are you feeling?
Oddly whole.
Yeah, you're looking a lot better.
Jareth kind of sits up and looks at his legs and sees. Okay. I remember messing up horribly. Then what happened?
It was pretty bad. So yeah, we went to a place that let us go back in time so that we could get you whole again. I don't really know how this stuff works.
Okay. Well, I'll just mark off one life. 8 more. Where's the others?
That is an excellent question. So we had to go from place to place within the place, and it would make us show up at different times. So hopefully they'll be here soon.
And all of a sudden, Nelbog appears, materializing out of the column of emerald immediately next to you.
Ah, yeah. Here we go.
Oh, geez, I gotta remember my voice.
Right, just really slow and deep.
It appears I have arrived.
Nice.
Hey.
Who is that?
Oh, this is Nelbog. We found him inside the tower. Were you stuck there or something?
That has yet to be determined.
Okay.
Around this time, as you guys are sort of coming to terms with where you are and everything that's happened, you actually start to hear a bit of a rustling in the leaves nearby, and you kind of like get on edge a little bit, and then from immediately the other direction, you hear a voice that just sort of says, "Ah, hello, my friends. Excellent to see you. How have you been? It has been at least feet, if not many, many yards. And you turn to see the shape of a humanoid man, roughly in his maybe mid to late 20s, made entirely out of green light.
Okay, and this is the guy from the beginning of the tower?
Yeah, this is the time being who met you on the other end. I see my stasis field has kept your friend whole. It is thanks to me that you are alive and well, my friend. We have not officially met. How are you?
No, I'm doing much better. I thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, he's looking a lot better.
Very well.
Jareth
And
gets up
you?
and dances a jig.
Yes. And you, brother, how are you these days? I have not spoken to you in, I imagine perhaps miles.
Who's he talking to?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure. Who is he talking to?
He's talking to Rocky.
Okay. Yeah, I seem to be okay. There was some weird stuff in there.
Oh, really? I wouldn't know anything about that. I tend to forget things the closer to the middle I get. But tell me all about it. I'm very interested.
Yeah, I seem to recall there was a little version of you that was artificial.
Oh, interesting.
Someone had made it, and it was looking for other people, but it stuck there. You might want to go check that out.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think I'd be able to do much about it, even if I could enter the tower. You see, I cease to exist past its walls. If they had pulled some of me inside, I couldn't say. That's like existing before you were born. Must explain why it was so off, as you describe it.
Yeah.
About that time, you hear that rustling in the leaves again on the other side.
I'll go check it out. I don't know that she's there.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Ronnie comes out and gives Rocky a big hug.
Ronnie.
I got out way earlier than you did.
You do notice that she has like a good set of like age lines that you didn't notice before. She's wearing a completely different outfit than the one you saw her wearing before. She has a really cool looking like shiny sword hilt on just kind of hanging from her belt that you don't remember ever her having. And you notice that Molly Mock is conspicuously absent.
Age lines. How far ahead did you get at everybody?
Where's Molly?
I got out a year ago.
A year? You've been waiting here for a year?
No, I haven't been waiting here for a year. I've been doing stuff.
Oh.
That time guy said that you would be back either in a year or in a decade. So I was really hoping it was a year. So I went out and did stuff and then came back.
Well, we're not all here yet.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Where's Molly at?
He kind of disappeared. He was with me for a while and then he got sick.
Like he just left? Like
No, he like disappeared.
Oh.
He didn't leave. He got sick and he kind of started talking nonsense and started to get thinner, and then he was just gone. I don't know what happened to him. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I had to come back here and get you guys, so I don't know. No one could tell me what was happening to him.
Well, Nelbog's here. He's a magic-y type dude. Maybe he could help.
I can ponder on it.
Like, there's
I'm
nothing for you to really examine, so I don't know how much you could help.
Well, I'm glad you're here at least. We're still missing a couple people, though.
At this, the time being sort of perks up and says, "Ah, yes, so sorry, I've forgotten. One of you arrived a day or two ago. I think they might still be sleeping one moment." And he sort of like dives down under the ground as if it's water. And you see this sort of like ripple of green lights emanating from the spot where he sort of passes through into the ground. And a moment later, you see a very sort of groggy and sleepy Bran waking up and sort of emerging from the ground and going, "Huh? What? Eh? What? Yes, I found him several days ago. I apologize. I should have mentioned that first. I'm so forgetful."
Well, good. That's almost everybody.
You're muted, Bran.
Yeah, you're muted. I did the same thing earlier. I was like, oh.
Okay. So we have all the usual idiots. Do we? No, we're missing them.
We're missing Hero.
And Molly, but I'm not going to fret about that.
Oh,
You know, I never trusted that guy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He was quite unusual.
Mr. Stone, when is the last one supposed to show up?
Are you speaking to the time spirit?
Yes.
Okay. And he seems to walk away from the Emerald Spire a little bit and backs up another. And you notice that, like, as he moves, his hair like grows in increments, and then like spontaneously changes style, and then grows out a little bit more as he continues to sort of walk away at these like steps. And finally, he kind of like moves laterally towards it a little bit more, back away laterally again, and he's like, 73 hours, I believe. Give or take several minutes.
Well, it could be worse.
Are we going to leave a note or wait?
We should probably wait.
We could just go.
All the characters don't remember what's going on, but definitely remember who they hate.
Question. So Nelbog popped in here from some other point, I think,
Correct.
in
Yeah.
time. So we have come out at a different point in time for him than what you came in.
Correct. Technically speaking, he has been in the Emerald Spire for he can't remember how long, but it was fairly late in his adventuring career. And so having gone back a week, it's hard to say exactly whether or not he's, quote, still missing or maybe just went in.
I'll turn to the timekeeper, I guess, and ask him. How long has the world passed since I came to this place?
He kind of stares at you for a while. I think you've been in there for a long time.
Well, I certainly feel it.
So, Nelbog, are you going to continue with us? You're more than welcome.
I am out of place and have nowhere else to go, your quest seems noble. I would be happy to join you for the time being.
For my sake, indeed, you ought to join them. For I am the time being.
So Rocky will look around a little bit again. So Erlasung hasn't come out, but he was dead before we went in.
Question, Jay.
Who had the Lightstone?
We left it with Sandflowstead, so it was a past Erlasung that we had met, not the Lightstone Erlasung.
You are correct.
Because we do not have that stone with us.
You are correct. A past Erlasung was with you in the Emerald Spire. And you are correct in saying that Erlasung has not manifested on this side.
I can say that I met versions from different times and different places as well. Perhaps he did not pass to this place.
Doesn't get $200. Yeah, I'm not sure. He didn't go in with us, so I don't know if he can come out.
Nor did I, but
That's true. Should we wait here for a year and a day? See if he comes out?
I have no quarrel with waiting. But I am used to such things. I don't think she is. I'll point to the Roni.
No, I'm not waiting around here for a year.
Looks like you already have. You kind of get some bags under your eyes.
I've been busy. I have not been waiting around. I just got here.
Shall we do rights for your friend now that we are in safety?
We have to wait here at least another 73 hours, give or take a few minutes. So
Very well. I do not know much about this Mekon, but I will do as the light bequeaths when we pass to the great island across the great ocean. So I guess I'll take the sack o Mekon ash.
Okay.
As I don't know exactly what happened, but I think we literally did just throw everything into a bag. So, and you see Nelbog just kind of go into some meditative mode and seem to be communing with the spirits and such, and saying some words in a strange language probably nobody here knows because it's Tortle or whatever.
Right. So as you methodically empty the bag of its contents, you discover that it's going to be a little easier to get at the ash if you're able to pull out the other items. You extricate a long staff with an orange gem at its tip. You extricate a well-worn and beaten axe that you sense a certain magical tingle around. You pull out the now charred remains of what used to be a personalized book containing spells, sort of illustrated with various weather phenomena. You pull out a slightly faring a little bit better than the first, now kind of a little bit singed around the edges, but still very ancient as far as that goes. A book wrapped in sort of a black leather, textured with fittings of copper and Pyrium. And you, of course, recognize this, the rest of you, of course, recognize this as the spell book containing time spells. You also extricate 4 sort of glass bottles filled with bluish liquid. You find a kind of like a backpack harness, but it doesn't actually have a backpack on it, and instead it has this large sort of rune on the back that is inscribed with a large feather. And then you find a small little sphere with what looks like a little lamp pull cord on it, a little and it looks like sort of a dark purple if you hold it up to the light, but inside, the sort of roiling darkness inside doesn't really allow you to see much else. And then you find the shriveled remnants of a wad of string that have been so blackened and charred that there's almost no way to identify them. As the outer sort of shell of string begins to sort of crumble in your hands, you see that there is some, well sooted, well charcoaled, fresh string underneath. And so a slightly smaller ball of infinite string survives than the one you had previously. Although half of infinity is infinity, so you still have a ball of infinite string. It's just smaller than it was before. And then, of course, now that all of those have been removed from the bag, you do, in fact, have what remains of Mekon, the weather wizard.
Can I inspect the remains?
Sure. What would you like to find?
Have they been artificially aged? Hypothetically, do they appear to be less than 10 days old?
Okay. I'll say go ahead and make a medicine check.
All right. That is a 5, but yeah, with really high levels, we get lots of bonuses. 5 isn't that bad. Yeah, 5 is actually 16. No.
Of course it is. Because you roll 14, and you're a druid, or a dendrite. So yeah, so you inspect the ashes, and not only are they relatively fresh, not all of them have entirely crumbled away, and so here and there you actually see there are still fairly sizable chunks of what used to be like skin and feather and like scale, like from the claws and things, and yeah, I mean it's still pretty fresh. Like think of a blackened chicken leg. So
I'm not actually sure about this, but I'll try to meditate and see if I can connect with Mekon's spirit somehow.
okay.
I'm trying to think if talking to Athanasia would be the easiest way, because I can't really scry a spirit.
Right.
I can't dream a spirit, but something like that.
Sure. Are you wanting to make a basic connection through the natural world, or are you using a spell slot as you do this? Because that will affect the result.
I can go ahead and use the spell slot. I just wasn't sure. I have one of my abilities is actually the Walker of Dreams, and I can scry, connect, dream once per day sort of thing.
Okay. So you're
perfectly fine burning whatever I need to. I just have no idea the best way to connect, whether it's my connection with Athanasia thing or what.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. The results will be tied to whatever it is that you use. So if that Dreamwalker ability, gives you the result of what you're looking for, then sure, you could theoretically use your commune ability to talk to Athanasia and see if she knows anything about Mekon's current status or whereabouts. Although as a dendrite, you're very familiar with the idea that spirits are a shaman's purview rather than a druid's. Druids are more like dendrites are more like a living creature, living plant, living beings sort of scenario. Right?
That is true.
Dead things. So you'd want to find a shaman to do that for you. Although you can certainly make the connection and see if the world soul knows anything.
Sure. I will try to commune with Athanasia to find out if Mekon wants to come back as a bunny or some other reincarnated item.
Okay.
Or if he just wants to be, I don't know, a turtle.
So the commune is the commune spell that you're using, I think.
That was just that ability to commune with Athanasia.
Okay.
You said I just had that once per day.
Right. Let me look that up on D&D Beyond to make sure I know what I'm doing with that ability.
Was it actually a spell?
It's the spell commune,
Oh, okay.
but specifically it only allows you to tap into Athanasia because you're identified. You're not anything else. All right.
So I guess role playing aside, Chad, do you want to roll the dice and come back, or you just want to be a turtle?
We'll see about that. But what spell are you trying to use, even?
Reincarnate. You got 10 days, and you roll a D100.
You come back as something.
Interesting. You do what you're gonna do, because I don't know if I even have an option to respond or not.
So
That's like a willing soul, isn't it?
yeah, if we're so what?
Oh,
what
so he can
Bran-
tell if I'm at least willing or not. I just didn't know if I had.
What Bran is attempting to discover is whether or not he should
That's have to be willing to do so.
is whether or not he should stuff Mekon's now deceased spirit back into a new body, back into his old body, or whether he should just leave it alone. So you would cast the spell Commune, and your deity is Athanasia in this case, the world soul. You can ask up to 3 questions that can be answered with a yes or a no, and you must ask your questions before the spell ends in a minute. You will receive a correct answer for each question, provided that the source knows the answer. So what are your 3 questions?
Well, actually, Chelsea was correct that it has to be willing to be reincarnated. So that basically answers my conundrum.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
So rather than commune, I'll just take a crack at reincarnating.
Okay, sounds great. So reincarnation.
And it doesn't look like this costs anything. It's kind of weird. Oh, never mind. Holy shit. Ugh.
If it costs that diamond, you have it because I got it for you.
I mean, you do have a lot of diamonds.
I got a lot of diamonds and diamond dust. You should have the
This actually says rare oils worth 1,000, but I'll see what I had. I may not actually have that on me. I do not. I don't have the oils for it. We'll have to try that at a later time.
Then 10 days. Anyway.
More or less.
Yeah. So the material component is, in fact, rare oils and unguents worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. You touch a dead humanoid or a piece of undead humanoid, you have a piece. Provided that the creature has been dead no longer than 10 days, the spell forms a new adult body for it and then calls the soul to enter that body. If the target soul isn't free or willing to do so, the spell fails.
Cool. Okay. Sorry for all that.
No, you're good. I think that would be a natural progression for Bran. He'd be like, wait, can I? No, I can't. Can I? Wait, do I have the? No. Okay. Well, yeah, never mind.
That's exactly what happened.
All right.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to take the string for safekeeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just smaller.
It's half of infinity, so yeah, it's a half-sized infinite string. All right. Well,
I'm just going to hold on to this for
I'm keeping the string like
purposes.
not in my bag of holding in my pocket.
okay.
Nelbot can probably tell what he's trying to do, since I'm also a purveyor of divine magic. Correct? Okay.
Yeah, they're sort of different schools, not literally schools. So a cleric in this campaign setting, as you might remember, is actually an exemplar. They tap into the divine specifically, some patron of some kind, your what's it called, Eldritch Patron. Whereas the Dendrites tap into like the material world directly. There's no intervention of a deity necessarily. The deity is just there as the source of the power that that sort of makes the living world go, and then they just tap into that. So it wouldn't be quite the same field, not the same, what's the word? Sphere. There we go. Not quite the same sphere, so you wouldn't understand intuitively, but you could probably figure it out with a successful arcane roll.
Yeah, I'll try to a successful which roll?
Arcana.
My Arcana is not great, so I might actually not know what he's doing. Nope, I got a 6.
Okay. Yeah, you see him, smushing things together and like looking around in a pouch for like some bottles and stuff, and he can't find what he's looking for, and you have no clue what's going on. Like, as far as you can tell, he's attempting to, like, I don't know, make soap out of the apples.
Okay, so I assume then that I'm still doing funeral rites.
Yes.
No, I'm keeping the bag.
Oh yeah, I at some point I would probably be like, does anyone else wish to say any final words, or I mean, I didn't know him well. Oh, right then.
Mekon would love to say death is only the beginning.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Jareth
Jareth
will play a dirge.
I'll say some words. And then I'll get up in front of everyone and stand there for a moment. I remember when we found Mekon. He was locked up and not happy about it.
It's true.
And we broke him out, and we fought some werewolves. And man, they suck. I hate those guys. Oh, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Mekon was a weird dude, but he was our weird dude, and he will be greatly missed. Okay, that's it. And I'll go back.
Mekon died as he lived, doing some stupid shit,
So true.
but trying to help a friend. And I kind of glare at Jareth.
It's all Jareth's fault. Yes, we learned that losing half your body is better than losing 100% of your body in this campaign.
Better.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Losing half your body, you can walk that off, but
Also, this is
Also
literally what
helps
you
you
get
start
from messing
that.
with necromancy, so...
Yeah, so, well, I guess Charles just walked off. I don't really have an answer. I'd be up for that. I didn't really know that the party had. Although it might be kind of weird if I'm reincarnated in the body of a squirrel as a wizard. Like, I can't cast anything. I can't do anything. So, we'll see what happens.
All right.
Would rather organically play it out.
So Nelbog at least holds awake. Not
Yeah.
a funeral as such, but at least awake for Mekon. And once you all have your moments of contemplation and remembrance, you find yourself with an advancing day, birds flying overhead, and high above you, a moon that appears in the daytime sky, smaller than you remember it, but larger than it could be.
I'm just trying to think. Nelbog doesn't really know much about what's going on, so I have questions, but he doesn't know what's going on. So,
So we just waiting here for a couple days until that monk pops out.
If he ever returns at all.
No,
About
I'm
72 and a half hours.
So what date is it in relation to when I had my little accident?
You guys are welcome to make some kind of nature check to determine that.
Well, I would have known because I would have known when to come back, right?
Yeah, although I mean, timekeeping isn't precise as far as like a calendar is concerned, and because the variant can be upwards of maybe like an entire year. It's a little hard to keep track over that much time exactly which day what happened.
Nelbog looks around at the stuff.
Okay.
I got a 19.
What'd you get, Bran?
He got a 19. I was asking if it was nature or survival.
Oh, nature.
Okay, 18 then.
Okay. So between the two of you, you kind of start making your calculations and looking at whatever clues you can. The positions of the sort of visible stars, the ones that are always present even during the daytime. You look at the position of the moon. Bran's able to determine a little bit more accurately based on that because he was actually present during over the course of the last several months of the moon getting bigger. Between the two of you, though, you're able to determine that at this point, the cataclysmic accident that caused Jareth to be torn in two will probably occur sometime in the next 3 days or so. So as you compare that with what the time being has told you about when the monk is going to pop out, roughly about that time.
Yes.
So wait, are we out there right now and he's about to tear himself in two?
I mean, somewhere else. I mean, you have no idea where you are geographically. So there's just no way to tell exactly how far you would have to go in order to catch up with a flying Pyrium spaceship somewhere in the world. Whether or not you can even reach it within 3 days would be a guess.
Yeah, this is.
Find him though if we don't know where we are.
I have so many things to say out of character. This seems to be really bad that it's a year later after we went in.
No.
It's 3 days before.
No.
Oh, it's only 3 days. It's 3 days before.
When I came out, it was a year in the past. Like
Oh.
Yeah. But how did I know where to find them?
You would know where you had gone from when you popped out. You basically wandered from there, and you were able to track your path back.
Okay.
Your journey over the course of this last year, however, hasn't really led you anywhere that you recognize. So it must be somewhere else in the world than where you were before.
So would I be able to tell people where we are though, since I came back?
You could tell them where they are in relation to where you have been over this past year. Sure, yeah, there's a coast to the east. You know that there's a city called Codwell into the south of that, so on and so forth. This area lies within a very dense jungle and so on, but you wouldn't know a whole lot about the other landmarks that would connect to the things you've already experienced.
Okay.
Based on that information, though, if you communicate that, somebody with a solid nature check could probably, well, actually, I would say this is either cartographer's tools, like this geography, so yeah, so nature, maybe history.
I have history.
Okay. Over the course of this last year, this history check will represent whether or not you've ever been able to figure out where you were geographically. So this would be something you would have determined fairly quickly, like a year ago.
Uh, 26.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Around this time, I feel like it's a good thing to sort of refresh our map of Athanasia. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see.
What?
All right. So, copy image. In the classroom, I will now be adding a material under the heading Athanasia. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, let's see. Okay. Link. There it is. And this is nope. All right, so you should now have on the classroom a link to the map of Athanasia. I'll take you to blog where I posted that, and you can take it. So basically, you all are familiar with the geography just sort of west of the Sinhad Desert. The Draconians live there. That's also where you all would have remembered meeting Rocky for the first time in the Dead Rock Caverns. And then to the south of that, you know that the Leonians live in a capital city at the center of the Roni Forest. And west of there, you'll see that there is a crossroads where there are 3 roads that meet. And that dot just to the east of that crossroads is the location that Roni, that you know that you are currently at. That river is in fact probably what you followed all the way out to the coast. The coastal town of Lurlin is sort of where the river gets big and then bends sharply to the south. Lurlin is sort of to the southeast of there, where as close to the coast as you can get from that large bend in the river. And then Codwallen is an island that sort of squats right there in the middle of that large pool of water before it finally goes out into the ocean. So right now you are far to the west of Lurlin, where you've been spending most of your time this past year. So in relation to all those other landmarks, you could probably tell where you ought to go. You remember when you were, well, others of you will probably remember better than Roni will, because she's doing other things here. But you guys recall traveling either to Sifu or away from Sifu. I can't remember which it was. At any rate, there was a little forested area over a ridge, a rocky ridge, and you guys parked the key in that little forested area. So that would be somewhere to the northwest. Well, actually, looking at the longitude and latitude lines on this map, it's actually straight north of you. Yeah. So that's what you're looking at.
I think we left Sifu.
I think you're right.
That's where we met Hero. I honestly forgot.
Right. So you guys had actually met her in Sifu. You went to the library at Sandflowstead. Holy crap! Okay, you guys went from Sifu to Sandflowstead, defend Sandflowstead from the demon incursion, and then you went north from there to the rim, where you were able to lock away the tear in the dimensional tear between the more realm and outer darkness, and then you dispersed the Lord Darkness, and then I think you were heading from there back to Sifu. So yeah, I can't remember anything else happening in the meantime. You were headed back to Sifu so that you could like basically, or it was either back to Sifu or back to San Flosted, whichever one it was, because you were trying to get a handle on where the other stones were, and then all of a sudden you had that mishap with the teleportation spell that kind of derailed you entirely. So
we left San Flosted because I got leave to go with the party.
that's right.
Left there for good, at least.
So it must have been going from San Flosted to Sifu.
Where we thought the next closest was.
I thought it was the water one.
The water one was part of your investigation, but that one was actually the Siren Sea. So you wouldn't have been traveling that direction. I think you were traveling from San Flosted to Sifu. I'm gonna go ahead and just say that's what was happening. Finding the key again.
I might have notes. 1 sec.
Oh, okay. Great. We have somebody who keeps notes, guys. This is
Yeah, my last journal entry was May 19th.
oh my gosh. So yeah. Let's see. So 8 months ago? Jeez.
I wonder what happened.
I'm having a little flash looking at Rocky's stats because Blankenship is good at, like, mildly good at lots of different things.
Uh-huh.
Rocky is good at, like, one thing. Really good at one thing. And pretty much everything.
Give me something to kill and I will beat it up. Meantime, everybody else needs to do something because I have no clue what's going on.
Love Rocky for who he is.
All right. So Heath, you got something to
Yeah, I'm having to go back like 9 months. Hang on a second.
okay.
Oh, here we go. April 21st.
Okay.
First note, forgot to make notes. Summary, group was going to Sifu.
Aha.
En route, Jareth practices teleport in the sky. Jareth fails and teleports half of himself somewhere else. I won't say where, which I guess doesn't matter now. Bran practices whirlwind outside the ship, fails and is blown off the ship, but it's okay. Bran scries on Jareth to locate him. Oh yeah, then you guys have to go see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then you guys have to go pick. Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, the half of me that you guys come pick up is at the Purium Spire.
Right. The other half is you won't say where.
Yeah.
Because I think I did in fact tell you where that was, but I still don't want you to say.
So they're like some giant cat legs just walking around out there somewhere. That'd be awesome.
So, yeah,
okay.
I'm going to say, unfortunately, the note about not writing down notes was saying exactly where we were going. We were going to Sifu, though, from the San Flosted.
Perfect. So your spaceship is theoretically in a forest somewhere between San Flosted and Sifu, far to the north of your current position. And you have 3 days between now and when Jareth is going to tear himself in half. So you could wait here for those 3 days and give Hero a warm welcome. Or you could maybe trek northward for 3 days, see how far you can get, and Hero will appear with who knows who available to greet her.
So she either gets a hero's welcome or we leave her a note.
Oh, that's so good.
Flavor.
So do we want to wait or do we want to leave a note? She didn't join us very long ago. That seems kind of mean.
Super rude.
I mean, we are on a bit of a time crunch, but I feel like it'd be best just to wait for the 72. I'm not really sure how the whole time thing works, but in 73 hours, Jareth, are you going to explode? or is this you now and the old you? This is beyond my.
I don't really know.
I just like
also, actually, the key is in the forest at the core.
Oh, fantastic!
At the core.
That's what my notes say. The key is hidden and left as it does. Yeah, Bran scries on Jareth, locates his upper half in the core. And then we use tree walk at a forest into a forest at the core.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yes.
Oh, so it's that makes ship. The ship is elsewhere, and then we use tree walk to get to the core.
Correct. Yeah. So the core is the underworld that we're talking about, the inside of the planet.
Right.
The ship is not inside the planet. That was the whole point of you having to tree walk in the first place.
Well, we could tree walk back to where we hid the ship and then come back. We don't,
I mean, you do have several days worth of time, so you could cast a spell.
You were previously correct. It's parked in a forest at Sifu.
Great. So there you go.
So I guess would we rather leave from here or leave from Sifu? Because I mean, we can do the tree walk thing again. Should we bring the ship back to where we currently are, or should we all tree walk over there when somebody shows up?
Oh, great Time Lord! This seems to be more of your area of expertise. Would there be any issues with us encountering our past selves, or should we? If so, should we then just sit here and let things happen as they were meant?
In answer, he sort of looks at you and he says, "Probably better if I show you." And what he does is he walks closer to the Emerald Spire, and as he does so, you see that his appearance changes in a certain way that allows you to sort of watch his progression as a life form in reverse, and then he walks back to the same place that he was. And after he allows you to watch that progression there and back, it's like you're watching his life in reverse and then to play out in the proper direction. So as he moves through space, as you all were moving through time, and he says, "For a being like myself, you know the infiniteness of space. You know how far it can go in any given direction. You know that the leaves of this bush over here are different than those here. If I had encountered this bush on my sojourn, I would only have encountered it there. But if I travel this direction," and he then goes back the direction he came, moves in a circular motion around, sort of skirting the outside of the Emerald Spire, and then he begins walking radially along a different angle and away from the Emerald Spire. You can see now that his appearance changes, and you can almost watch as he sort of lives a different life from the one that he lived before. And then as he walks again along the radial back to you, he then sort of calmly explains, all points in space are simultaneous. All possibilities, all endless moments are present, ever present. The same would be true for you. You are simply here at the same time you are there. And this time is all times. Do you understand my meaning?
Yes.
No.
We understand that because we're here now and we've experienced this. Our present selves, past selves, whatever, have not, and therefore may freak out at seeing us suddenly appearing before them. Maybe even try to kill us, thinking we're some ploy by the enemy.
Have you the Time Mage's diary? Perhaps someone of your own temporal flow could explain it better.
Maybe we should just sit still for 72 hours and.
That's what I'm concerned about. Well, I
Sounds
don't
great.
know how that past us, present slash present would feel about it. I'm worried that they may think that we're some ploy by the enemy and immediately attack us and possibly even kill us, which would be all sorts of bad.
Is the
I'm betting that Jareth would do it if he wasn't cut in half.
Is the key even there yet? Have we left it yet?
That's a good point too.
No, it's 3 days. That doesn't happen for another 3 days.
Yeah. So,
we
everybody good with just chilling for a couple days?
Yeah.
I think what we should do is wait for a few days until we can then wait until we think ish the hour when you tree walk to the core. Then we go back and quote steal the key.
It's a time heist, ladies and gentlemen, a time heist.
Ish. We kind of own it. It's just, I don't know. I think it be less confusing and odd thing.
You're just picking up the car from the parking lot before the timer has ticked down to 0, and you have to pay a ticket for.
It is 8:30. Do you guys want to take a quick break?
I would love to. Let's do that. So let's have you guys sort of deliberate about what you're going to do, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes. See you then.
Cool.
Should we warn the bird not to open the tomb?
Well,
What
that's a
conundrum.
possibility, but then if you suggest something like that and then they don't do it, you've completely changed the whole timeline.
Yes, that would be most unpredictable.
I feel like this is going like Bill and Ted really quick.
Thinking more along the lines of Back to the Future.
Yeah, we're like,
But that's what I was thinking at first, and then we started like degrading.
I mean, you guys are welcome to. I hereby invite you as players to dig into the Time Mage's grimoire, because that's the best authority on this, and it would probably identify for the players exactly what kind of time travel rules exist in this world, since the players don't know yet.
yes, it looks like that book was not destroyed in the encounter.
We have 2 people supposedly viewing the stream that have been here since the beginning.
Well, 2 viewers, I hope we haven't bored you to tears yet. You stuck around this far, so. I'm just disoriented from a role-playing perspective because I'm playing a character who doesn't know anything that's been going on up to this point. So, yeah, it's like all the questions I would like to ask, I can't. That is okay.
Just love that I called out that I'd taken notes, and the very first note I have is that I didn't take notes the previous session.
That was awesome. I forgot I hadn't been, because all of Blankenship's notes, I've been doing that on D&D Beyond, but I just started that there, so I'm like, wait, why don't I have any of my notes? Because they're all written down.
Yeah, I think I've got the attack on Sanflowstead down, and then skip one session maybe, because it goes from the 14th to the 21st.
Take notes if my character would take notes.
Or I think actually what I think happened was I forgot to make notes the day as we were doing it, and I had to do it after the fact, and so I didn't get all the little details written.
I originally was going to be a note taker, but that was when like Lorna was really little, and we were playing at our house, and she would come over and scribble all over my paper. So I couldn't take notes, and then I just like never did after that.
I gotta say, it's nice being like being able to see you guys in the kitchen while I'm doing stuff. Back where I used to live, I would have to go like upstairs from the basement, and then I couldn't hear you, and I was like, I'm missing out on stuff. How do I do that quick?
You're missing a lot, right?
So much. So very much. All right, y'all ready?
We have to listen to this crying because we're trying to get this playing.
All right. How does this work on the Twitch end, Chelsea? Is it like a pause thing or like a holding screen, or do we start a completely new?
For a period, be right back screen. I don't think they can hear us at that point. I mean, they can hear us now, but I don't think they can hear us on the be right back screen. But I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Don't assume.
Don't say anything you wouldn't want the internet to know.
And there are supposedly 2 viewers.
Oh, well, hello, 2 viewers. So nice of you.
That's a 400% increase.
No, there are a couple of people I know specifically watching this, but they don't watch until like several days later. So, all right, let's get back into it. So, I hear the general consensus that you guys would like to wait around until the 3 days have elapsed. Any dissenting voices to that?
Yes.
All right.
I will begrudgingly wait.
All right. So I'm not going to worry too much about the nitty-gritty of this. Between Bran being around to sort of help you get some rations and other things from foraging and hunting and such, you guys are able to have as much conversation as you'd like. You're able to feed yourselves just fine. The weather does change a bit over the course of the next couple of days. You do actually note that the moon gets visibly bigger, and it's rainy for several hours one day, and then it kind of clears up and it rains again. You every now and then will see the sort of outlined shapes of Leonians who come to the edge of the caldera and begin sort of like talking to each other in their native language and sort of coordinating what sounds like Jareth is able to pass along, but it sounds like they're coordinating like hunting parties basically. And you notice that they're sort of wearing more simple kind of hides and furs and things. Some are wearing like lizard skins, like crocodile skins and stuff. So they seem to be very like a hunter-gatherer sort of society out this far in Roni Forest. And then nobody seems to sort of bother you or even really notice that you're here. It seems like whoever comes close enough to be seen doesn't ever consider going down into the caldera itself. And in the meantime, the spirit sort of keeps you like he's ever vigilant, literally never sleeps. So he's able to sort of make you aware of things as they occur. But you also notice, especially Roni, you've been outside the caldera for a good long while. You realize that he kind of has a maximum distance that he can travel, and it ends up at the edge of the caldera. So, strangely enough, like you realize that he actually can't leave this place. He becomes an old man and then ceases to exist after a certain point. Finally, on the third day, after an interminable wait, I will just sort of blanketly assume that any conversation you want to have between sort of when you start now has happened at this point. Everybody knows everything that everybody else wants them to know, and
I was actually curious, how much oil could I forage in the last 3 days?
Oh, excellent question.
Is that possible to forage 1,000 gold worth of oils?
You could make some progress. So let's see. So you'll be able to harvest these oils from like nuts and animals and other sort of natural sources, possibly even maybe some mineral oil going on. Go ahead and make, we'll say, a survival check. Make 3. See how far it gets you.
That is a 25, a nat 20, so 30 something.
Of course.
And a 15.
Okay. Go ahead and roll 2d10 for the nat 20. Roll a d10 for the 25, and then roll a d6 for the 15.
Yeah, so we have a d10, 3d10, and a d6.
Yep.
12, 14, 19.
You predict that over the course of a little bit of time, you can probably craft the materials you were able to gather over the course of 3 days into 19 gold pieces worth of unguents and oils.
Shit. Never mind. All right.
I was curious if we could pinpoint how many days Mekon's been dead for the purposes of this spell.
Difficult to say how being in and out, difficult to say how dying inside of a time tower might actually affect that, but you predict that as far as you guys are concerned, he died maybe 3-4 days ago.
Okay, and so then if we wait another 3 days, that'll put it at about...
I mean, including those 3 days that you waited.
Okay.
Yeah, so he died fairly recently as far as all that. So you probably got at least another week.
Okay. And then should we hide and then surprise Hero when she comes out?
I like it.
Like a surprise birthday party sort of situation?
Yeah, it's like, surprise, you're back in the material world. Yay.
Group that hates me so much. Yay.
Okay.
I think it's only Ronnie that hates you.
Yeah, Rock.
I don't know.
We have some good sparring matches.
Okay, so you guys take up your positions. Go ahead and do a group stealth check, and we'll see how this goes down.
Is that just one person rolling for everybody?
Everybody rolls, and we sort of average out the result.
That's a 5.
Nah, I didn't get much better than that. I gotta look up my. Nope, I got exactly 5.
All right, Ronnie. 25. Okay, we couldn't hear you because you're muted, but I saw what you said.
25.
Rocky.
Well, because I have disadvantage with stealth, I rolled a 6.
A 6, and then Jareth.
I rolled a 16.
You rolled a 6.
16.
Oh, 16. Okay. So, Jareth is busy finding a hiding spot as he realizes that Roni has already found one and has no idea that she's 3 feet away. Meanwhile, the other 3 of you sit there and continue to argue around whether or not you should hide behind a boulder, whether or not you should use Rocky as the boulder, or whether or not you should just burrow down in the ground, carve a little cave, and at that moment, all of a sudden, Hero appears from the Emerald Spire and just looks out at everybody, not Ronnie and not Jareth, obviously, but the rest of you just sitting there arguing about where you're going to hide. No. She's going to appear at any moment. You've got stop arguing. No, I will be the boulder. You hide behind me.
I'm just gonna stand there with my hands on my hips, just kind of watching.
She's standing there behind me, isn't she?
I'll notice her and I'll be like, surprise!
Yes, great job, big guy. Look at you. Is everybody else here?
Yeah, you're the last one.
Great. That sucked. Let's not do that again. And I'll look around for, I guess. Is this it? Where's the body?
I'll look at the bag of Mekon.
He's hiding around or something.
Bag of
So
Mekon.
he's alive and in one piece.
Oh wait, who are you talking about?
Who was not in one piece just like a few hours
Well,
ago?
Jareth.
You guys are the worst.
Is that him in the bush?
I jump out. Ta-da!
You look a lot better than you did.
His torso, it rises out of a waist deep sort of bank of foliage, and you imagine that he has legs. You're not entirely sure. They're hidden by leaves.
I mean, it has to be a good sign that you're upright and not covered in blood, right? Is that a good sign?
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Great. Well, congratulations. We did that.
Thank you.
You didn't explode, so hurrah for that. Anywho,
Yeah, and we had to sacrifice Mekon.
I feel like that was his problem.
A worthy sacrifice.
Wow.
Well,
Man, this movie is just a bunch of people.
apparently we might have a chance to get him back, but I think we're gonna have to go fast.
That's a good point.
Well, what are we waiting around here for? Let's go.
Back to the ship.
3 days. I've been waiting for a year and 3 days.
That also sounds like a problem. She's never gonna like me.
Hero, you're gonna get beat up if you're not careful.
What, by her?
Yeah, okay. Good one.
Ronnie, I'll go ahead and say that you, in the time that you've had it, you're welcome to declare that you have a specific blade already sort of ready to go.
I'm gonna go with a frozen blade for now.
Okay. And is it your own blood or some other creature's blood?
Well, a frozen blade is water, so it would be the earth's blood.
Oh wait, hang on. When you said, I thought you said crimson, not
No.
frozen.
Yeah, frozen.
Okay. So yeah, so you have a frozen blade in your sword right now. Excellent. All right. So with all of you here, what's the plan?
Back to the ship.
Back to the ship, and then we need to get to a town so we can get some more oil.
Quite
Right.
sure.
You have a ship. But there's no water.
Yeah, it's not that kind of ship.
Oh, what kind of a ship is it?
It flies.
It's a magic
I don't know about that.
Is there a nearby tree that would accommodate large persons?
Ronnie has seen plenty in the Renai forest. It's just a matter of looking, for several minutes.
Very good.
So as you guys reach the edge of this sort of plateau area in the caldera, you reach the outer area and you see that it does, in fact, descend into the earth. Now, over the course of several days, you've been able to sort of navigate across this chasm, and so you understand how it works and how to get across and such. But when you encountered it the first time, you kind of had to address the issue that you didn't really know how far down it went. It descended into blackness. You didn't know how far down it was. You tested it several times, and you discovered that, in fact, it just keeps going. The cavern below does kind of open up, and basically it's the sort of island of this spire is sort of emerges. It continues to go down in a rough column, down into the earth until it presumably sort of ends and becomes a cavern floor. But you found the closest point between the island of Earth that you are currently on and the other side of the caldera, and you've been able to fashion a rough, sort of vine and rope bridge to get yourselves across. Now that all of you are bipedal and capable of navigating that rope bridge by yourselves, I'm not going to worry too much about getting across it. So you navigate to the other side of the rope bridge, climb the wall of the caldera, and emerge into the Renai forest proper, where you see off in the distance now all of you sort of taking in the sight Hero for the first time, but the rest of these have gotten used to the sight. You see the forest spreading out around you in all directions. Where you are right now is sort of a raised up hilly area within the forest. You can see sort of over some of the shorter trees. The taller ones are kind of waving a bit as the trunks catch the wind and bend. You also see there are some interesting formations unique to the Renai forest that you've never seen anywhere else. You see that there are some trees that are in fact bent in long. They would be many tens of feet, 20, 30, 40 feet high, but they have been bent in such a way that they meet the tops of other trees and appear to have been lashed together. And so every now and then you see an especially large version of this sort of tree bridge between two trees that are perhaps several hundreds of feet tall, but again have been bent together in this way and create sort of above forest roads that catfolk, Leonians, frequently sort of run up and down as sort of a quick way of getting around in the forest. Off in the distance, you see that several of these very, very tall trees, in fact, still stand in small sort of copses and sort of again wave in the wind. You know, Ronnie, that the nearest crossroads is to the west, and you know that there are several large trees that can be found within a couple minutes walk, and we mentioned that we were going to be going through one of the trees. So you find what amounts to basically a banyan tree with this enormous, like 30-foot wide trunk that is then reinforced with more branches that have sort of dropped to the ground and rooted themselves. So you're able to find a suitable tree, and it's around this time that you notice one of the sort of hunting parties of Leonians is within earshot. You can hear them kind of shouting at each other and managing a recent kill. And you have the tree before you.
Everybody hold hands.
That didn't work last time.
Wait, it didn't? Oh, you're saying with the time thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, it worked with the tree last time. All right. Let's hold hands. Everybody's got about 6 seconds to get through. And go.
All right.
I don't even have my hands up yet.
Bye.
Oh.
Oh.
So
I grab Nobog and carry him.
as Bran casts the spell on this banyan tree, it appears that the sort of foremost branches that have fallen down and taken root in front of the tree bend away from the center, and this motion continues to happen further and further into the tree, more and more quickly, until you see an entire tunnel forged through this tree, but not opening into the denser parts of the Roni forest as you would have expected, instead opening onto an area that you see being showing you, in fact, the key positioned a good maybe 50 feet off through the hole. You all run through, and almost immediately you catch the sounds of a party about which tree they're going to be using to get to the core.
Oh, shit.
I think that's us.
Nobody do anything.
Do you all pause in front of this tree?
Yeah, literally just like not moving.
You hear the sounds coming closer.
Oh, shit.
We're probably going to use this tree. We need to hide.
Is this bad?
Wait, is this the tree we used? Okay.
Hide. I'm going to go underground.
All right, Bran disappears.
I'm also going to go underground.
Rocky disappears.
Can I climb up the tree to the lowest branch?
Absolutely. Go ahead and make a climb check.
I'm going to hide.
Athletics. There we go.
Can
Athletics.
I somehow monk my way up the tree?
Do you have like a climb speed?
No.
Then yeah, it's an athletics check.
Oh, this is gonna suck. Okay, I'll use my inspiration for tonight, because why not?
Go for it. Yeah.
Yay, 1. Okay, so 16 total.
Okay. You make it 10 feet up the tree, and you are perching on the lowest branch.
Great.
We have 2 people on the ground, Ronnie and Jareth and Nelbog. You're all standing out front. What do you want to do?
I'm going to hide.
Okay. Ronnie, go ahead and make your stealth check.
28.
28. You pitch it straight into a sort of underbrush situation between a couple of trees. Nelbog is sitting there, I imagine, just sort of slowly walking in a certain direction and just, I'd better hide.
I mean, technically, they haven't met me yet.
Yeah.
Past us, so, but I don't think I'm hiding.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm gonna hide. I'm a large turtle. I can't climb. I can't stealth. I could pull into my shell, so they could find a shell.
There you go.
And hopefully,
Sounds
leave
good.
it alone.
You drop prone and retract into the shell.
Exactly. That's what I do right now.
Jareth, what are you doing?
I'll look over at Nelbog real quick and say, "It's okay. They don't know you. Just act natural." And then I cast invisibility on myself.
Oh, nice. Okay. So everyone appropriately hidden. You now see that yourselves come around the corner, and you notice that you're discussing how idiotic Jareth must have been to cut himself in half, and I think Bran is describing the sort of the falls under the earth and the Imperium Spire, and explaining how you're supposed to get there somehow, and that as you walk through this area, you're going to be inside the planet, and all this other stuff. And what's your passive perception?
15.
Okay, so are you hiding in that tree?
I mean, I used my action to climb. I did not try to hide. I thought
Okay.
that was all I had the chance to do.
Over the course of this period of time, they're now within view, but you have a sort of a fraction of a moment. Do you want to hide?
I would like to try.
Okay, go ahead and give me a stealth check. If you beat 15, you're okay.
18. I rolled a 15.
Awesome. Like as you Hero, your younger self comes like around one of the trees, you like remember in your brain looking up to a certain direction to like see a bird or something on a branch, and you take advantage of that, and you like throw your voice a little bit and go caw, and then everyone else looks that direction too, and then you just kind of like fold backwards and up into the foliage, and by the time everybody's looking back your direction, they don't see you. With that, everyone kind of proceeds on their way. Bran, in a very no-nonsense sort of way, says, all right, 6 seconds, here we go, ready, go. And he casts the spell, and the tree folds open, and everyone rushes through, and the tree folds shut.
They don't even notice me. Like a giant shell right there.
They're busy thinking about the fact that one of their party members cut himself in half, and they got to go save him by going into the core of the planet. No, they're not going to notice a random, unmoving tortoise shell.
It's awesome.
Badly, but don't do anything.
Oh, it is good said.
And once they all leave,
Don't open. Oh, they're gone. Too slow.
Nice. I'll pop back up and start walking to the key.
Bran at the entrance of the tree, holding the door open for everybody else to go through, and going through last. He hears, "Don't open." What? No, I don't have time for you. Bye. And goes through the tree.
Got shit to do today.
Sounds like him.
All right, you find yourselves in the forested area where the key sits, having just exited it yourselves.
Well,
Wait, where are we going now?
Let's lift this bitch. Them losers never knew what hit them.
So you guys return to the key, almost as if months in between, you reacquaint yourselves with its shape, its systems. You're able to seamlessly open it from below, go inside, and find yourselves at the very familiar stations that you did once upon a time. Our captain.
All right, Captain, where are we going?
Is now absent. The others of you, however, have taken up other officer duties. So if you'd like to reacquaint yourselves with what those are, do we have a navigator? Do we have a bosun?
I remember when I was, and it was the least useful member of the crew.
Is it Ronnie the cook?
I was the
Okay.
Yeah, Rocky was the bosun.
Captain. Jareth was the first mate.
Okay.
Rocky was the bosun. Ronnie was the cook. Mekon was the quartermaster, and Bran was the surgeon. And I don't think Hero had anything. Yes. Yeah.
Ronnie let me do anything.
Yeah.
So the ranking member of the crew would be Jareth, the first mate.
What was that look, Allison?
All right, me hearties.
Yes.
We have our ship. Now what? So where were we going? We were going here. I blew myself up. Did we actually determine where we were actually going? We were going to Sifu to do something.
Let's go ahead and continue on to seafood. We could probably get oils there. They have an alchemist.
Sifu it is.
All right.
Raise the mizzen mast. Draw the anchors.
Nelbog is looking around, mystified by all of this ancient/futuristic technology.
Yeah, I doubt I've seen anything like this before.
Given that your powers come from the divine, you would have absolutely no idea how this arcane spaceship works.
Right, I've been on, and presumably I've been on an island off in the middle of nowhere with little contact with the mainland, so this is all very strange to me.
Correct. Yeah.
AJ, remind me to talk to you about Mekon after tonight.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take inventory of all of our power stones. Who's got what?
Shit.
I'm concerned by the end of this I'm going to be reincarnated and stitched together into the body of a half monkey.
No, what I get to talk about has something to do with something Mekon did.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I have the warp stone and the mind stone.
Warpstone and Mind Stone, that's 2.
The Death Stone should have been in that bag. Oh, cooked crispy Mekon.
Correct.
And I also
Okay, so you have the Death Stone as well.
have
Someone would have had to have the time stone too. The light stone's back with
Did Mekon have the Time Stone too? Because we were trying to link it up or whatever, and I was using.
First, it was in the possession of Kathy, then it was in the possession of Jareth, and then it was Marat who had used it, and then he's the one, the time wizard, the time mage from the Pier and Spire, used it on Jareth to make sure that he was kept in stasis. So technically, Jareth still has it, unless Rocky took it and kept it.
That's what I was thinking. It was that Jareth has
an alteration.
I'm going to say Jareth still has it. Likewise, we had the Light Stone that was in Erlasung's possession originally, then Kathy, then Rocky. Does somebody else have it, or Rocky, are you keeping it?
at the temple.
Oh, then the Master took it. You're right. Okay. Roni had the Warp Stone. Mekon had the Death Stone. Now Roni does. The Protection Stone. Oh my gosh, the Protection Stone. Bran,
Yeah.
your little dragon, Finny.
Yeah.
So he's still hanging around. So there's a little Drake who's now grown another pair of legs and become a proper dragon, who has a blue diamond crusted external sort of body, and now sort of embodies the actual Protection Stone itself, just the same way that Artaxerxes did.
Oh, that's right. I thought I still had the 3 drakes, but we only kept the 1. That's right.
The Alteration Stone is still in Bran's possession, I assume. Rocky had the Destruction Stone, and then Yakris had the Destruction Stone. But now I believe you guys have recovered that. Who has the Destruction Stone now? I think it's Rocky.
I was pretty sure it was Rocky.
Okay.
And I think, do I also have the Mind Stone? I have that written down.
I think we
I
had
have-
Ronnie pick that up.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it. I remember using it when we were inside the thing.
So Jareth has the Time Stone. Ronnie has the Warp, Mind, and Death Stones. Finny has the Protection Stone. Bran has the Alteration Stone. Rocky, you have the Destruction Stone, like always. And I don't think Hero ever inherited a stone. Okay, so we have time, light, warp, death, protection, alteration, destruction in mind. You guys currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 20 power stones. That leaves 12.
Are you counting the light stone?
Yes.
Okay.
I have time, light, warp, death, protection, alteration, destruction in mind. Okay, so yes.
We got a lot to go.
Okay. So you all head off in the direction of Sifu. You may remember that the way the key works is that it can be fitted with four up to 4 stones in each of the shuttles, and it can be fitted with up to 12 stones in the main column, the main sort of bridge area of the spaceship itself. So right now, you could the shuttle doesn't work unless you have at least 1 stone in it. But as you may recall, it takes a bit of time for 1 stone to sort of sink and be ready. So the more stones you put into one of either the shuttle or the ship itself, the quicker they attune. So if you wanted to throw 4 stones into the shuttle and then take out all but 1, that would leave it basically ready to go. And then if you wanted to put the remainder into the ship, that would make it easy for it to be sort of primed and ready. Placing the stone into the ship or into the shuttle makes it operable, but the actual properties of the stone don't become useful until they've attuned, which, as I said before, it attunes faster the more stones are inserted into it. So you may recall that you have special abilities with the ship and or the shuttle based on which stones are attuned to it. Do you want to attune any stones specifically at this time, or do you just want to basically install them for the sake of travel?
Most of travel.
I'm just doing acrobatics in the anti-grav center.
Yeah.
I'll put both mine in now. How does the Drake, can he attune to it? Is that possible?
Is it possible for Finney to attune to the ship? Interesting question.
I feel like Rocky actually did.
Yes, he was able to actually snap off a piece of his finger and then reabsorb it later.
Yeah. Let's not do that with the Drake.
I've got all of the old stone handouts for the sockets and stuff. I'll take pictures of them later and send them over.
I can put the Mind Stone in one of the sockets.
One of the sockets. Okay. So as long as at least 1 stone is inserted, you all are able to achieve actual flight. You get on your way. You know that it's going to take a little bit of time, so you have some travel to go. Something in the neighborhood of like less than a day. Anything specific you guys would like to do while you are on your way?
Yeah, I would like to try and at least get within earshot of everybody and be like, do we need to talk about this experimental spell stuff at all? Like lay down some ground rules about when not to do it alone.
This is probably a rare time I'm going to agree with you. Y'all, where's Brad? Where is he? He needs to be here for this conversation.
I will go to one of the doors and open it and look outside to see if he's on the side of the ship like I think he was last time when he was trying the whirlwind spell.
Sure, yeah. As you may recall, the key itself has that long nose, and there are 4 sort of portholes, sort of iris-like portholes. He's sticking his head up out of one of those portholes and just kind of looking around.
we need to talk about something. Get in here.
He can't hear you. The wind is rushing past his ears.
I throw a pork chop at him because I'm a cook and I have pork chop.
I'm not even going to ask where you got that from, but
The kitchen.
Make a ranged attack. Yeah.
It's just dexterity, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you're proficient in pork chops.
I mean,
When I level.
so
I mean,
I hope you're proficient too.
I'm not.
14. Okay, I'm gonna say since he's not looking, that succeeds. Yeah, it like. Are you throwing it at him like outside of the ship or inside the ship?
Inside.
Okay, so you march up to the main sort of bridge area and you chuck a pork chop at him, and it hits his foot, and he like wiggles one leg a little bit, and he says, "Ow!" And at that moment, Brand then comes back down into the ship, and he's like, "What? What do you want? What? What? I was looking around. What?"
Thanks.
Okay, you need to come in here. We need to talk with you, and we need to talk with Jareth.
All right.
You guys with your spell experiments that get you nearly killed or cut in half or blown off the ship, that shit needs to stop.
I was making a tornado.
Have a buddy, and your little dragon guy doesn't count. You need somebody there to make sure your ass doesn't die or explode, and we have to go through the middle of the freaking world to save your ass again and sacrifice another crew member just because you're fucking around with your spells.
Now listen here, Cookie. As the ranking officer on this ship,
I feel like none
I
of the
agree.
things
It's
that
probably not the best.
were exaggerations. Every single one of those things was true. You could get yourself blown up or killed. 100% correct.
I'd have to agree, though. The ship is probably not the best place to be doing experimental magic.
You need to have a non-magical buddy there. We're doing the buddy system to watch your dumbass experiment so you don't explode, and they can try to save you. Otherwise, we're just going to leave you next time.
So only on the ship, no experimenting with yourself unless you have a buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I miss these characters.
All right. What was I at? Oh, I was actually at 5 successes. It was pretty close.
I was not.
Jareth, are you going to be my experimentation buddy?
You can only have a non-magic experimental buddy. You can't have another magical yahoo helping you out who's just going to explode too.
How far till Sifu?
About 8 hours.
Would reading be agreeable? Can we read?
Will it make you explode? Or
I don't know. It's
half your body across the planet, God knows where?
magic books. I didn't write them.
If it happens to you again, I'm not saving you.
Surprised you did this time, to be honest.
I don't know. Everyone else wanted to do it.
I don't know how to read.
Hang on a second.
And that's why you're not going to explode. Good job.
Wow, you didn't even rob me. I'm amazed.
Can we, at the very least, just tell someone else when you're about to go experiment something, and that way we all know and can come help?
That'd probably be a good idea. I honestly have no idea why I decided to go outside the ship and just teleport. Sounded like a good idea at the time. I mean,
Just remember, next time you have an idea, don't.
Nelbog just awkwardly tries to stand there and yes.
Well, why don't one of you guys like teach Nelbog how to do something on the ship? That way, you know, we've got some missing roles, I believe.
You
wanna learn?
teach me anything about this ship.
Can try to help.
What other things don't we have? What other roles don't we have?
You don't have a captain. I don't think you have a navigator. And you lost. Let's see. I think Mekon was the navigator, so you lost him.
You said he was the quartermaster.
I was the quartermaster.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was the quartermaster. The quartermaster is in charge of navigation. That's what it was.
Okay, so quartermaster and a captain, but Jareth is the acting captain right now.
Correct. Technically speaking, if you want to say that Jareth is now the captain, you don't have a first mate.
Hero, you want to be the first mate?
No, you guys have Nelbog.
He's not the captain. He is acting captain. And Nelbog, if you're semi-literate, you can read our map for us. You seem like a man that's been around.
Well, I've certainly been around my island, and now I'm here. But I will help in whatever manner I can. Yes.
All right, so the stone spirit holograms will emerge from the installed stones and begin helping you learn the interface and how to interact with the maps and other stuff. Make a wisdom check with navigator's tools without proficiency.
Okay, so just a flat wisdom check then.
Correct.
A 16.
All right. So
lucky for all of you, I have good wisdom.
Yeah. Within the time it takes you guys to get to Sifu, he's actually well on his way. He's one of 3 checks into becoming the ship's navigator. So well done there. Yeah, the stone spirits are able to sort of speak his language, so to speak, and since he's already very well acquainted with nautical charts and such to figure out how to get around the islands and talking to people who sail by and other such nonsense, he's already fairly well acquainted. It's just a matter of figuring out how to access the information. From there, he's a pretty quick study as far as to how to get around.
Yes, this ship be righteous now. I'm just like cruising around.
All right. Anything else you guys want to do within the 8 hours?
Short rest? Long rest?
Long rest? Yes, absolutely.
Actually, long rest, yeah.
I would love a long rest.
Yeah. All right. So you arrive in Sifu after a long rest. It's getting on toward evening. You notice that a rainstorm is coming in from the north, and this far north, it's actually by the time. Nope, it would not be a rainstorm. It would be a snowstorm. Yeah. So a snowstorm is coming in from the north, and you think it'll hit maybe in the next probably hour or two. Sun's starting to go down. Where would you like to park the key?
Where did we park it last time?
We just parked it outside of town.
Yeah, like sort of to the southeast, just outside of town.
I'd say we just park it there again. It wasn't that far that we wouldn't be able to make it to town before the snowstorm, right?
Nah, it wasn't terribly. It'd probably be about a 20-minute walk.
Okay.
You also recall, now that you're sort of hovering over Sifu, that you notice that large snow pit. Hero specifically remembers that pit, having fallen into it, and Rocky and her having had a fist fight for the ages on the invisible floating platform in the middle above the snow pit. You guys park. Do you make a specific effort of trying to hide the ship, or do you just leave it out in the open and take the keys?
I think that's what we did last time.
Yeah.
Keys of us.
It's going to have the snow soon, so it'll cover it up.
All right. So everybody removes their attuned power stones, leave the key behind, and enter town. You notice, per usual, that the most prominent feature here is the inn, where there is a lower level that juts out of the rock face and looks over the snow pit. That balcony is currently not occupied, but just inside the big glass doors on that lower level, you see many patrons with brightly lit lamps and having a jovial conversation with one another. You see that several are dancing to whatever music is being played by the bards. You also know that there's a large communal area where animals are kept at night and cared for. And you think fondly back all those, what seems like now years ago, when you used to own a little donkey named Roger, where you left you left him here and allowed him to just be sort of taken care of by the folks of Sifu. You are also aware that you have a jewelry shop, and then under that is a mage rite. Who sort of experiments on enchantments and is able to sell you like magical weapons and stuff like that under the jewelry shop. There's also a blacksmith. You know that there's an alchemist shop on the far western side of town. You guys are coming in from the east. And then about midtown, you have this path that winds up the side of the mountain that this village is sort of nestled into. And that path leads up to the fairgrounds with a henge where the people would decorate and create sort of cloth mazes and such last time you guys came back. And this is also, the henge is also where you first met the Corvians who were performing rituals to pull down the moon. Having returned to Sifu and remembering all of the memories you've made here, where would you like to go?
We probably should check out the alchemist and get some oil. I don't know the original reason. I think that's what we should do now. But I think maybe we were just going to check. Maybe or something like that. We were going to stop back and then head to get the stones. But I don't.
Does somebody have something for sale at the or being made by like the mages or the enchanters?
I know the enchanters were really interested in Rocky, and I don't remember if they wanted him to come back or not. I don't remember the reason we were coming back. I think we wanted to get supplies. I think probably.
That's the only thing I can think of is to supply up.
I'd like to go to the alchemist to, see if there's any healing supplies. And if y'all wanted me to check on diamonds or anything like that, I still have store credit.
I want
to give my 5 gold to whoever's going to buy some oil, and I will take 1 gold and go find some drinks.
All right.
My last gold to go get some drinks.
I would like to buy a bigger hat.
All about the big hats. Cool.
Oh, you should get some suspenders too, because then if you do cut yourself in half again, maybe they can just like keep you together.
Dang.
Maybe.
That's
Saturn.
cool.
Get a full suit of armor that way it can contain the gore.
All right. Well,
Jar.
Hero, you head off to the tavern They're currently, for a gold piece, you could afford a house rice wine or a wheat beer. You could also get warm pig's milk for a silver. Okay, so that'll get you a couple servings of wheat beer if that's what you're okay with.
Just chill until everybody's done.
Great.
So who's going in search of oils?
Me and Ronnie so far.
Yeah,
Okay, do you need any money or do you have enough?
I gave you guys my 5 gold, so somebody take that.
I don't take it. I have enough. You keep it.
I give it to Bran because I want to be helpful with the party. I'm a monk. I don't need money.
Okay, do you guys have enough money or not?
How much oil do we need?
It was 1,000 gold worth.
Oh yeah, I have enough.
Okay.
Ronnie is a money hoarder. Y'all spend it on random stuff like holes in the ground. Hats.
Yeah, asshole.
I feel like that's a good brand. All right. So you guys head over to the alchemist's shop, and inside you see that the sort of the lamps have been turned down or blown out. You see that there is one person walking around, although in the darkness it's difficult to really see who that is. You see that the sign on the door has been flipped to closed, and it looks like whoever's inside is toddling around, sort of looking at books and moving around items from the back room into the shelves.
You said, sorry, you said that at the alchemist shop?
Yeah, that's the alchemist shop.
Is there stuff on the shelves?
Yeah.
Okay.
You bang on the door. Okay, so Ronnie bangs on closed doors, and the person inside kind of looks up, looks around a little bit, and sort of meanders over, and you can see that the woman that you had met before, who ran the alchemist shop, has now come to the door again, and she sort of like peeks around the corner of the sign and sees you. And there's one thing that you notice that's very different about her. While she is wearing the same clothes, and you can tell that it's definitely her, she's a good deal heavier set than you remember. And it has not been very long since the last time you saw her. But she recognizes you almost immediately, and she gets very excited and sort of waves her hands a little bit, and she fumbles with her keys and puts it in the lock and sort of turns it, and then she opens the door a crack, and then she realizes that the chain is still there, and she closes it, and she opens the chain, and then she pulls the door open again, and she says, "Hello! Oh, how are you? Oh, it's been so long since I've seen you. What are you doing here? Why? Hi."
Hey, we were wondering if we could, I know you're closed, but can we do a little shopping? We were hoping to get some expensive stuff.
Oh, okay. You didn't happen to bring with you your big Rocky friend, did you?
He's in town, but
okay. And she shoves the keys into your hands, and she says, "Was he at the inn?"
Okay. Are the stuff? Yeah. Or is everything labeled?
Great. Everything's fine. Just go in and leave whatever you buy. I'll see you.
Okay.
And then she runs off down the road.
All right. What do you need?
Did you just leave Ronnie alone in her store?
Brands with me.
Did she say we had to pay for stuff?
I tried to ask. I don't think.
Okay, I'll leave it up to you. Yeah, I'm gonna go find some cool oils.
Yeah.
And if Ronnie's not going to stop me, I'm going to find some other cool stuff too.
Well, okay, but just wait. Don't make it obvious.
All right. So I'll get the expensive essential oils enough to bring back our friend.
Right.
And there's some other cool stuff, like maybe some poison dart things, or.
So you're looking for things that might help you make poisons?
Yes.
Okay. You find
my current poisons only do like a D4, and I feel like I can up my game a little bit more.
Yeah. So you find plenty of things you could use to make poisons. Basically, it amounts to several like alchemists' kits worth of stuff in the back room. You find as you sort of like this is not the stuff that's for sale. This is the stuff that she has that she uses for her own like brewing and potion making and stuff. But if you wanted to, you could probably pile all of it into several boxes, and it would amount to like 2 poisoner kits worth of like stuff. So if you just wanted to take it, that is available theoretically.
I didn't know if there was just like anything really rare that I knew would just cause dilapidating damage.
If you're looking for something specific that's going to like an actual poison, you see that the only thing she has around that does that is going to be like a small section that's like inside of a locked cabinet, again opened by the keys that Ronnie has, that are labeled as like rat poison.
Is that actually rat poison?
I mean, it's for vermin generally, like bugs and just small animals that shouldn't be inside of houses. So yeah, and there's there's like a flesh-eating slug repellent, and there's a boring weevil repellent, and there's does it
repel a flesh-eating bug, or
you flip the box over and you read the back, and it says to eat the flesh of bugs.
Hey Ronnie, this could be cool.
That is pretty cool. Is it like an acid?
It's like better. It actually eats it. It doesn't just like burn through it. It actually consumes it.
Okay. So what this would amount to essentially is a vial of poison, and there are 2 of them available on the shelf.
We shall take both of them. Do you want one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Each of them is worth 100 gold pieces.
Worth what?
100 gold pieces.
Keep track of my bills here.
For the purposes of actual like stats, you can find it under basic poison.
All right. So 200 GP so far. Did we find enough oils for what we want to do?
Yeah, do you think the sandalwood or the rose would be better? I don't know what bird goes with.
I don't see rose as Mekon. I think the sandalwood is earthier and therefore dirtier. And I think that one would be
Mekon. You find 21 bottles of various sort of flavors and scents, and some that are scentless, and some that are medicinal, and some that are ingested, and some that are applied. They are all labeled somewhere in the neighborhood of 96 gold pieces each.
DC 13.
okay.
So theoretically, you would need maybe 10, 11 of them.
11. We would need 11.
Yeah.
All right. So that's, for me, that's 1,051. include, and then Heroes 5 gold. Okay.
Glad I could help.
I just want to clarify. I figure this is something that you're already taking into account, but you do know that you can't use the poisons as part of the unguents, right?
Yeah, those are for other things.
Okay, just checking. Because I was like, if you mix poison into that ash, I'm gonna laugh at you as Mekon comes back as like this monstrous toxic thing.
Oh,
No, while we're here, we may as well, get other stuff. Does she have any acid?
Does she have any acid? Excellent question. She has 3 vials.
Okay. How much are those?
25 each.
All right. I will take those 2. Oh yeah. Is there any Evangeline's Magnificent Rack left?
As a matter of fact, not only is there Evangeline's Magnificent Rack, but there is also now a line of Evangelines. So in addition to Evangeline's Magnificent Rack, you also have Evangeline's Flouncing Buttocks.
I'm sorry, what?
Flouncing Buttocks.
I must have missed something here.
Yes. There is another one entitled Evangeline Very Round with a dot, like an ellipsis, and then eyeballs.
I get it. I get that reference.
And then you have finally Essence of Evangeline's hair. What's the word for it? Fragrance. Yeah, hair fragrance. It's sort of an eau de parfum that you're using in like a spray bottle sort of situation.
Labeled with the name.
They're more labeled from like a marketing standpoint, like enhance your experience of sensuous pleasure and all this other stuff.
Okay. I'm not going to buy any of those. I just
The effects are vague at best as far as the labels are concerned. With how much they're charging for them, you imagine they must be very effective, whatever it is they do.
And I also want to check out,
Those.
are there any healing potions?
Yes. There are 11 of the lowest variety,
Jay's raining healing. What's going on?
6 of the moderate variety, and 2 of the 3rd tier.
I feel like we've never seen more than like 3 in one spot. This is weird.
She's got some good shit.
What are they priced at?
The 11 basic ones are going to be 50 gold pieces, and they go up from there.
I'm going to get 2 moderates.
Okay.
1 big one. And 4 little ones. How much is that?
How much are you spending total? I feel like this is a word problem from math class. All right, let's see what we got. Here we go. Okay, so the second tier, the 6 potions are 125 each. And the top tier are 584 each.
Okay. Give me a second.
Yep. So the official names of these, the Potion of Healing is the common, that's the 50. They're called Greater Healing for the uncommon. That's the 125 apiece. Those healed 44 plus 4. And then the Superior Healing is the highest. Those are the 584 apiece. Those heal 8d4 plus 8.
Dang.
All right. Don't say I never bought you anything.
You got some options.
Who are you talking to?
Brand.
Wait, what did you buy for me?
I bought a ton of potions.
Oh,
A lot. It like cut my money down substantially, but I have them now.
Anything else you guys want from the alchemist shop?
we're good.
I leave the money
You leave with money.
behind the counter and then lock up when we leave.
Okay, sounds great. Meanwhile, Rocky,
I swipe a Evangeline's eyeball, whatever it was, too.
very, very round ellipsis eyeballs.
Yeah, I take one of them.
Okay. All right. So, Dave, where's Rocky around this time? Where would he have gone?
Well, I remember I always went to the blacksmith's shop and would just kind of watch and help.
Okay. Do you see you go back there now?
Yeah, I think I'll go back there.
So you see the blacksmith having sort of doused his forge for the evening. The coals are sort of still glowing in the sort of enclosed stone sort of oven, and he appears to be making some small adjustments that don't require any large fire to accommodate on his little workbench sort of out front. And it looks like he's the day closed, but it looks like he's still there, just probably working on something like a personal project of some kind. So you walk up and it starts snowing a little bit.
Okay. Well, I can't read that it says closed, so. Hi, remember me?
Oh, yes, big Rocky fella. How are you?
Yeah. You need help with anything?
Oh, well, just making some adjustments. You're welcome to sit down, though. I'll let's see. Do you think you can hammer some small rivets into these strips of leather?
Maybe. I'm better hammering big things, though.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll set them up, and you just give them a good whack. Why don't you?
Okay.
All right. So he'll set several rivets, top and bottom, into a strip of leather. Looks like an unfinished belt, and he sort of slides it your direction. And he says, "All right." Hands you a big hammer, and he says, "Give that a go."
Okay, I'll give it a go.
All right. Are you trying to be strong or dexterous at this moment?
Well, I'm not dexterous, so I'm trying to be strong, I guess.
All right. Go ahead and do an athletics check.
Ooh. Athletics. Total of 14.
Okay. You successfully avoid smashing the leather into smithereens and making it completely unusable. The rivets are very well flattened, but usable. So he kind of looks at it and he says, "Ah, yes, that'll do. That'll do. Why don't I have you straighten out some nails for me instead?" And so he'll just like throw a pile of bent nails down in front of you, and he just says, "Yeah, we'll lay those flat and see how far you get."
Okay. I'll work on that.
All right, so you'll sit there and flatten out his iron nails, and he just sort of sits there and he chats a little bit. He says, "What have you been up to? Big adventures?"
Oh, yeah. One of our friends blew himself in half. That was
Really
exciting. Yeah, he's all better now, though.
Oh, I was going to say sorry for your loss, but I suppose you adventurers have access to things we mere mortals can only dream of, eh?
Yes.
So, whatever happened to that very rude woman with you the other time that you came by?
Which one?
Oh, well,
Uh,
she dressed up like a man, as I recall, and then revealed herself at the last moment to be. I'm not sure if you remember, but I'm very uncomfortable around women, and that was just sort of an awkward interaction, as I recall.
Was that Ronnie? I can't remember. Dave doesn't remember.
Yeah, it was Ronnie.
That was me.
Do you
Because
want-
I tried to get him to make armor for me, and he couldn't even talk to me, so I had to disguise myself as a man so he would
That's
actually
right.
do it.
I remember that now. Are you wanting to date her? Is that what they call it?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say. How is she? How is she doing lately?
Well,
Is she good?
I'm not sure. Her boyfriend literally disappeared, I think. I don't really understand.
And about that moment, you see just clip-clopping down the street in your direction, the alchemist woman who you remember from the last time you came by, just going, "Oh, there you are! Hello! Hi!" And she sort of clip-clops right up to the little workbench, and immediately the blacksmith clams up. And the alchemist just kind of comes up, and she takes your one huge rocky hand and just lifts it up and smushes it into her face, and she says, "You're here."
What in the world? Yes, I'm here. I'm straightening nails. Bam.
She sort of backs up and she goes, "Would you do you drink? I can't remember. Do you drink?"
I do not. No? Have you met? I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
He kind of looks at you and he goes,
How do you spell that?
She like barely gives him a passing glance, and she just says, "We should go someplace else. We should go to the inn."
But I'm straightening nails.
Well, okay. And she just reaches over and grabs one of the very small hammers, like tiny compared to the big sledgehammer you've got in one hand, and she sits next to you, and she begins going ting, 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 doing nothing whatsoever to these nails. I'm used to brewing things. I'm not used to all this physical labor. Ting, 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 ting.
Okay. Bam.
He jumps. The nails kind of jump on the workbench, and he just goes, he just kind of scoops everything up, except for the nails. He leaves the nails in the sledgehammer with you, and he just kind of scoops everything else up, and he just sort of ushers himself back into his blacksmith shop.
Okay.
Around that time, Nelbog, what are you up to?
I don't know. This is all very strange to me. I'm probably just following the group around. I didn't go with them to get the poison and oils and stuff, so I suppose I'm probably most comfortable around this fellow of the earth, this big rock fellow. So I'm probably following Rocky around wherever he goes.
About this time, you would have probably finally caught up to Rocky. And so you see him and a sort of bigger woman sitting in front of the behind the blacksmith bench, hammering nails back into shape.
Nelbog, do you want to help straighten nails?
I suppose I can.
Okay, and I'll push a small pile over.
All right, I'm gonna help straighten these nails out.
Okay. There's only 2 hammers: the big sledge that Rocky's got, and then the very tiny one that the alchemist has.
Can I morph my hand into a hammer shape?
Sure.
Okay, I'll do that, and I'll pass the actual mallet over to Nelbog.
Okay, so what looks like a mallet in Rocky's hand amounts to essentially a very large sledgehammer. So he hands that over to you. I mean, it's a mace essentially. So if you know how to use maces, yeah, it works.
Yeah. Giant sledgehammer to straighten nails out.
Yeah.
I'll make do with it.
All right. Go ahead and we'll just call this an attack roll. See if you can hit it.
What is minus 8? 15 on the die.
15 is pretty good. I mean, you take a second and you kind of just like position it in a good spot and just sort of aim and go. And sure enough, I mean, it flattens out. So seems like you can make fairly good progress. Nowhere near as effectively as Rocky, of course, but so the 3 of you sit on the blacksmith's workbench. The blacksmith, poor guy, still sort of trapped inside of his blacksmith shop. You see like one of the shutters like open. He looks out real quick and he just kind of, you can hear him swear to himself, and close the shutter again. Jareth, what are you up to? And then he leaves. I'm hunging.
He wouldn't be in this party anymore.
I'm done. There he is.
Sorry, I fat fingered the key. I was looking for a hat.
Indeed. Okay. So most of the sartorial options in the town at this point are closed.
I can wait until the morning.
Okay. You can window shop a little bit. What are you looking for in particular?
A big hat with a nice feather.
Okay.
And frill. Things captains wear.
Oh, okay. You're looking for a good captain's hat. Go ahead and roll 3d6. Tell me if you get any 6s.
Oh my god. I'm just a freaking bull in a china shop over here.
Destroy the whole room.
Yeah, I know. I have 1 6.
Okay. You find one that's actually pretty passable. It's the right shape. It's got a feather. And you find that it's got like some gold, what amounts to like furniture tacks, sort of lining the outer rim of it. It's sort of a light dusty brown, and it looks like it has the lucky thing is that it's actually been made with like one side of it has been folded up, and then the brim that's still sort of round on the other side has actually been stitched with a hole that would accommodate an ear of, say, a Leonian. So it's even the kind that you could wear.
Nice. What time does the shop open? Is there a sign on the door?
Yeah, it says it'll open at sunrise.
Very well. I'm off to the tavern.
All right. So between Ronnie and Bran coming back from the alchemist's shop, do you guys stop off and drop off her keys? Yeah. Okay. She notices you walking past. Rocky, are you taking advantage of this opportunity to follow along back to the inn?
Sure. Now, Bob, shall we go?
I would be happy to join you.
Excellent.
I'll turn to, I can't remember her name. I'll turn to her and say, bye, and just walk off.
Oh, okay. Come by the shop tomorrow. Bye. She'll take her keys and sort of trundle off back to the alchemist shop. You guys make it back to the inn, where you see Hero now well into her second beer.
I'm just at one of the tables with my legs kicked up. Modestly. Since I'm wearing a dress.
Yeah. You hear the joyful music of some bards in the corner. Jareth recognizes the name of the band as one of sort of the traveling groups of bards that sort of goes from one place to another. The last time you heard of them, they were somewhere in the sort of south of Usoria in like the Tower of Towers region. Seems like they've been making quite the trek to get up here.
So who's all back at the end now?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Are we staying here for the night, or what are we doing?
Well, we have the oil now. How long does your ritual take?
About an hour.
Do you want to wait until morning, or do you want to try it now?
I just need somewhere to do this. I'm not just going to slop this on the table, though.
Do you want to get a room, or do you want to go back to the key?
Probably the key.
If you want to do it now, I'll go back there with you. But if you want to wait till morning, that's cool too.
Do we have any reason to be staying here after? Or have we done everything we needed here?
I don't think so.
You will remember, at the very least, your ultimate goal is to find the your remaining power stones. Roni, you have some information about that. Hero, the last time you guys were at the library in Sanflostad, the master was able to give you some information there, although the enchanter might have more information. Maybe if you coordinate with him a little bit, you could narrow down some of the locations that you know about.
Well, I did a little, during my year abroad, I did a little scouting, and I have an idea where some of these are.
Sweet.
That'll be
We should
I'll
leave.
let you guys describe where they are, because
Yeah.
know that I know.
Right.
Well, since it is 10 o'clock, I'm going to go back to the key, slop them on the floor, and do my ritual.
All right. Let's go ahead and call that our last thing for the evening. We'll see what the result is. Go ahead and
Chad the necessary time to redo his character, or
well, I guess this is entirely up to sort of how this goes. So you're going to cast what spell precisely?
that'll be reincarnate,
Okay.
and it has to be willing.
Right. So describe for us, Bran, what exactly you're doing to reincarnate the remains of Mekon, the Weather Wizard.
I believe I do have a surgery table, so I will slop his remains onto the table, move them around in some sort of a linear form,
Has it been
and
cleaned?
then
Wasn't there like
No.
a big mess in there at one point?
No, that was a different room.
That was
and I will
Ronnie.
start
And
the ritual, and it will start to form a new body.
Okay. As I have mentioned once before, my intention to let people come back is going to be to use the resurrection rules from our Tal'Dorei campaign guide from Critical Role. So basically, this is going to involve gestures from the people who knew him best in life, and depending upon the success or failure of those gestures, the spell will be more or less likely to succeed.
Oh, it can fail.
It can fail.
Oh, okay.
Even if the spirit is willing, it can fail.
so remind me how that works, Jade. Do we like basically give a pep talk or something, and then we have to make some sort of roll?
Right. I'm looking it up literally right now as we speak. Let me see what we got.
This entire thing a different room since I feel kind of guilty about this. I don't think
Okay.
I should be present.
I mean, that is entirely up to you. Whatever you think your character would do.
I feel like
Maybe.
it'd be more of an insult to be in on it, so I don't.
Okay, I think you should be there, hero.
If he knew better, he wouldn't care if you were there.
It would be a nice gesture.
Okay, so the resurrection challenge is as follows. If the character is dead, which it is, a return from death is attempted by a spell or spell effect with longer than one action and casting time. The resurrection challenge is initiated. Up to 3 members of the adventuring party can offer to contribute to the ritual via skill checks. The DM asks them to make
reincarnation different than resurrection?
What's that?
Is reincarnation different than resurrection, or are you gonna just do the same rules?
It is thematically different than resurrection, but because it's a person being brought back to life, this is sort of resurrection with a lowercase r rather than with the spell itself.
Okay.
So you would contribute via skill checks. I'll ask you to make a skill check based on the form of your contribution with a DC adjusted to how helpful or impactful that I feel the contribution might be. And then I might offer, it says might require intelligence religion check at easy to medium difficulty, loudly demanding the soul of the fallen to return from the ether. You could have a charisma intimidation check to maybe convince the person to come back with some kind of threat, like I will hunt you down and make sure that your spirit never finds rest. Advantage or disadvantage can be applied based on how appropriate the contribution is. So the DC for the final resurrection increasing by 1 for each previous successful resurrection the character has undergone, meaning it gets more difficult the more times they've been resurrected. It's decreased by 3 for each successful contribution skill check. Each failed contribution skill check increases the DC by 1. So it is far more advantageous to succeed than it is to fail. Upon a successful resurrection check, the player's soul, if it is willing, will be returned to the body and the ritual succeeds. On a failed check, the soul does not return and the character is lost.
You said it was either charisma or intelligence check?
They just gave examples. Really, it's kind of whatever you think is the most appropriate.
Ah. Does anyone want to assist with this, or can I just do this thing?
I can assist, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how I would, what Ronnie could do that would lure combat.
Use a string.
Yeah.
Like a kitten.
Actually, that might actually work.
Dear soul, soul, come back. There's something that would probably be more effective at attracting back a absent-minded Mekon soul.
I don't know who had the button. It's getting late, so let's...
Okay. I'm going to say, I'm going to take out the string and like Mekon. If you come back, there's more of this waiting for you. There's more fun goodies for you. I'll buy you anything shiny you see that you want. And we can go directly to your friend Slinky and bring it back too when we're all done with you. But you have to come back first.
Okay. Let's go ahead and call that a charisma persuasion check.
That's a pretty good old throwback.
Yeah.
The fact that you have the string and you use past experience will give you advantage.
Oh, good, because it's a +0.
Oh, right. Yeah, never mind. You're wrong.
Yeah, it's Ronnie we're talking about here. So.
Wait, is there... Do I have a spell for this? There's got to be something I can boost this.
I haven't rolled yet.
You do have an enhance ability that is a spell.
I will sit in the corner, sit down, and start playing.
Okay.
And I will be playing a happy, uplifting song to give anybody who wants to make these checks inspiration.
How much is it?
A D12.
D12? Okay.
Plus, you have your nightly inspiration that you haven't used yet.
Oh, I use both? Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Got this.
Hey, you might as well at the end of the night, right?
I got a nat 20 on Kite's dice.
Nice.
Oh, that's
20.
weirdly perfect.
I
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
It's a 20. Hold on. I'm going to use my inspiration anyway. Okay. Plus 12.
Oh man. So grand total, you have a 22. No, 32. 32. You dangle the string over the ash and bones, and you get the sense that the spirit of your departed friend is somehow closer than he was before. Who else will be contributing?
Oh no. Charles's computer died.
The person doing the ritual, the crystal ball froze up.
Amazing. Like Brand's probably not paying attention to
I will.
anyway, so I don't think it matters too much.
I will help as well. Mekon, I knew you not as well as I should, but as much as anyone probably needed to. Please come back.
Okay.
What the hell was that?
Jareth.
It was pretty classic, Jareth. So.
Are you incorporating this into any kind of performance at all, or?
Yeah, that's as I'm sitting there playing.
Okay. So we'll call this a charisma performance check then.
Okay, performance. Cool. Oh yeah, I'm not that kind of bard. 13.
Okay. And finally, we have one more opportunity for someone to contribute.
Me, not that kind of part.
Who would like to? I'm gonna just say, like, it wouldn't make sense for the turtle to contribute because he didn't really know Mekon. Plus, it's being played by the player who.
Yeah.
So it comes down to
Rocky'll try.
All right, Rocky, what do you do?
So Rocky'll stand up there and just stand there for a minute and then say, Mekon, you checked out at the absolute worst time, and that makes me so angry. If you don't come back, I will go to the new War Mage building. I don't remember what it's called. And I will punch every single one of them in the face.
I kind of feel like you should go at the end of the first Avengers whenever Hulk just like screams at Iron Man awake.
Yeah. So come back now, or else.
All right, go ahead and make a strength intimidation check.
It's like slam on the table and scare him.
Yeah.
That is a total of 21.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to apply a reduction in the DC by that much. Okay, great. The final roll will be me just rolling a d20, and there's no modifiers to this. It's just either it succeeds or it doesn't. So,
can we contribute our
inspiration?
Your contributions have been made. The DC is set based on the successes or failures of your contributions, and I just simply roll and I see if it works. Bran,
Yes.
you have laid out the ashes of your fallen companion. The contributions have been made. The string, now in an endless sort of snake, falling, cascading over the body of the bones and ash, used to be Mekon. And
he's cocooning the body with the string.
Well, yeah, I mean,
new form.
Rocky having slammed his fists down on the operating table, and Jareth, playing a lively tune appropriate for the return of a spirit to the mortal world, echoing through this room, you summon the will of Athanasia, and you lay out your magical force back into the body, and you wait a moment, expecting to see some movement, any sign that might indicate that Mekon has returned. The bones remain still. The ash swirls in the wake of the pounding that Rocky gave, and the ash settles, and stillness and silence pervades the room. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
I'll play my little violin now.
Guess I'm gonna have to go punch some people.
Found out those oils, they didn't work.
Oh, damn it.
We haven't had a single like revivify or
You look at the back of the bottle and it's like essential oils off of an infomercial. Dang it!
It's watered
Pot
down.
rock. It's watered down essential oils.
Natural ingredients.
90% carbonated water, 10% oil.
Yeah.
Product of Houston tap water.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens next time on Tales of Athanasia.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.